there isn't the K line, it's actually the H line.
Oh, H, yeah, H and K.
The Daystar filter centers on the H line rather than the K line.
Okay.
The Lunt calcium filter, it centers on the K line.
I imagine the two look quite a bit different on a disc-wide basis.
I think through both filters, the sun looks very similar.
Yeah. Does the Daystar have to be heated? You know, saying
You have it is tunable.
Yeah.
You do. You do have to supply 5 volts to it to pressure tune it.
Yeah. Eventually, it seems that you can't bring it online anymore. It seems to have a finite lifetime.
Yeah, they have those Daystar and Lunt filters do have a finite lifetime. It's about 10, 15 years.
Something like that, yeah. Maybe closer to 10 than 15.
Well, somebody told me it was actually more than that, but I took that with a grain of salt. One thing you want to do with your Coronado and your other with these filters is keep them packed with silica gel.
Just to keep the moisture out of there.
Yep, moisture will destroy the coatings on the filters, on the blocking filters.
Be sure and tell you that. I don't think they told me that in my day.
Yeah, on your blocking filters, they're very sensitive to moisture, and you need to keep them packed in silica gel. As I found out with my Coronado telescope, I was telling Rick, I had to replace the blocking filter on it. It had degraded.
Oh.
Over what period of time?
He said over what period of time?
Oh, it took about 10 years for it to degrade.
You still have time.
No,
don't say that.
My Coronado scope was it's 11 years old, and I could still see the sun through it and the prominences, but they were really, really dark.
Yeah, I think they adjust the temperature a little bit when they close up on Sundays.
Is it a little cool in there?
Yeah. It's maybe just a little chilly, yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. Somebody talk here and see if this doesn't.
Are we having that same problem we had last?
No, that was a different problem.
Oh, that's good. Even though we made it work.
That was a problem with getting onto a website. So Parker, ask a question again. See if Dave, can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Dave?
Barely.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna move up closer anyway.
You might want to sit up closer if you want to ask questions.
Got a little conference call microphone that I've got plugged in now, but it's not a real high quality one. So it works great around a conference table. Maybe not quite as well when you're 30 feet away. So
yeah.
Oh, this is better viewing anyway.
Parker, I love your pictures of the sun.
Oh, thank you.
You're doing really good work there.
Well, the best one was my first. And that was just luck. I did it last August, and it was hot out. And of course, when you do these things, you're sitting in the sun.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm not going to sit here very long. And I just set the settings on it and said, okay, we're going to go for about a minute. And then that's it. But I'll tell you, I don't know if I mentioned this to you earlier. I bought about a month ago a mount from Skywatcher that is the neatest thing in the world for setting up your solar telescope. The problem that you have, you go out in the daytime and you try to get everything polar aligned, and you just can't do it very well. This thing has got a GPS on it, and and it runs on AA batteries. And so you put your telescope on, you push your button, it finds where it is, and then what it will do is that it will slew up to the angle of the sun, and then it will just start slewing clockwise. It's got a sensor until it sees it, and then at that point it tracks. And so from the time that you haul your telescope out to the time that you're watching is 5 minutes or less.
Pretty good. I've never really worried about polar aligning during the daytime.
Well,
With my coronadoscope, it's in my 5-inch refractor. The field of view is so large that being off quite a bit polar wise doesn't really matter that much.
well, I had the opposite problem. I got that Lund 60, and I need to be dead on, or I'm just going to catch just a portion of the rim or something. But anyway, it's really nice because, and it's small. You could fold it up into maybe 30-inch length, and hold it easily with one hand. I tell you,
It was well reviewed in Stein Telescope.
well, I don't remember what I paid for it, but relatively speaking, it wasn't that much.
No,
And I tell you, I swear by it.
boy, they are reviewing very costly things now at Stein
Well,
Telescope.
a lot of things have become very costly since COVID started in the astronomy hobby. Telescopes, mounts, everything.
Well, this is then one of the great bargains of the COVID era.
All right, Dave. Well, I think everybody's here, so
It's a small group.
turnout, but if you want to go ahead and share and get started.
Okay. Let me share. Can you enable the screen share?
Oh,
You've got it disabled.
But it might be quite a bit later. And then it's going to be 26.
I don't want to share. Sorry about that. You should be able to now.
Yep. Okay. Let me. I'll just share the whole desktop so I don't.
I feel the same way.
Okay, everybody see that?
Yes,
Yes.
it's coming across well, Dave.
Is my audio all right?
Everything's great.
Okay. Sometimes I have trouble with the audio on Zoom because of my upload speed. Okay, 20 years of lucky imaging. I think most of you know what that means. Recording videos and capturing the best frames under the best conditions and stacking them to the final image.
Hundreds of thousands.
Well, how did I get started? First, I guess I got started back in 2002 when I bought a Meade LXD55 just before the Mars opposition. And during that spring and summer, I saw the article in the June Sky and Telescope on webcam imaging, so I gave it a try. Went out and got the trusty 2U cam, which everybody was using at the time. Bought some Barlow lenses, including a PowerMate 3X PowerMate. There's my LXD 55, my old laptop running Windows 98, and a little rattan stool that I used to set my laptop on. Our one cat has long ago destroyed that rattan stool. She turned it into her easel. She became an artist, and that was her easel. Well, here are some images from 2003 of Mars that I took. So these are some of my early attempts. Not bad. I was pretty happy with these.
Dave, can I interrupt you a second?
Sure.
I just want to say that your images of Mars and Jupiter are absolutely stellar.
Oh, thank you. I don't consider them nearly as good as some of the other images that other people are doing.
Well,
I consider mine kind of mediocre.
that's pretty. Then you have a pretty high standard for mediocre. They are truly outstanding.
And so in 2003, I was using the 2U Cam Pro. I was also playing around with the Vesta Pro, and these are pretty good in terms of for the time. They had pretty good. They had the small pixel size on the chip. They were CMOS sensors. I mean CCD sensors, which were superior to CMOS at the time because they weren't nearly as noisy as the CMOS sensors and far more sensitive. But you had to keep the frame rates as low as possible, down to 5 frames per second, because the software would compress the images and degrade the quality at a higher frame rates. And one of the things that annoyed me with these web cameras was the diagonal bands caused by electronic noise in the camera and the computer. As you can see in this image of Mars, you can see lots of diagonal bands cutting across the planet. Well, I learned after a while that you can remove these digitally using a fast Fourier transform. Taking the Fourier transform of the image, edit out the noise, and then reversed it back, and voila, the noise is gone. So back in 2003, my laptop was Windows 98. I was using mostly K3, initially using the Philips V Record out of the box. That was lousy. I adopted the K3 CCD Tools free version. That worked real well. And we were all using Registack for our stacking in those days. And for my final processing, I was using PaintShop Pro 9. And there's the K3 CCD Tools interface, capturing a video of Saturn. There's Registack version, that's probably maybe version 3 or version 4. And the video formats we were using at the time are 8-bit AVIs, 256 color images, 5 frames per second to keep it uncompressed. And my video capture lengths in general, anyway, usually I use about 2 minutes for Jupiter, 3 minutes for Saturn, and 4 minutes for Mars, based upon the rotation rate of the planets and how much blurring you get. If you try to capture beyond these time frames, the planet rotation will blur your final image. Back then, the videos were fairly small, 300 megabytes to a gigabyte, and you could easily store several nights' data on your Windows 98 laptop. My first images of Jupiter and Saturn from 2003. They weren't too bad. They weren't the best, but I was happy with those. Now, go to 2005, and I think my image quality improved a bit. There's a picture of Jupiter with one of its moons emerging from behind it, and the shadow of one of its moons transiting across the planet. That's was always one of my favorite things to capture, are the transits and of the moons. Another one of my favorite Mars images is a sequence of images from 2005 when there was a moderate sized dust storm on the planet. You can see the dust storm in these two frames as the yellow regions in the upper left of the planet. And then in 2006, we had the Mercury transit, which I captured a few frames, here's a few frames from the Mercury transit. And I was at that time kind of playing around with lunar imaging. There's a first quarter composite in the Mare Imbrium region that I did. What's the date on 2007? This came out quite well. I was pretty happy with this. And about 2008, I got away from the standard 2U cam, went to the SPC 900 webcam. Well, basically the same, but it had a USB 2 interface, which allowed a little faster transfer speeds to the laptop. At this time, I had also upgraded to a Windows XP laptop with a 320 gig internal drive inserted into the DVD drive bay, which allowed me to keep quite a bit of video on the laptop. Again, I was still using K3 CCD tools, Registack 4. I'd also added to my toolbox a astronomical image program called AstroImage, mainly for its deconvolution capabilities. And I also had purchased a copy of NeatImage to do noise removal. And I'm also using Photoshop CS2 to do my final processing. And here's a picture of Venus that I took in 2009. And here's one of my favorite pictures of Jupiter from 2009, showing, first of all, some of the moons and transits, and the famous impact, the small comet that or asteroid that impacted Jupiter in August 2009. You can see the impact scar down at the bottom of the image. And this was an image taken shortly after the impact. I had a fairly early image of the impact scar. The impact, they figured, happened just a few hours before I took this image. There's a picture of Uranus that I took in 2010. Just a green dot. 2012, I replaced my LXD 55 mount with a Meade LXD 650 mount. It was new to me at the time. It was this is a mount that dates from about 1993. And I still have it, still use it. And I've had to do a few repairs to it over the years. But it's still working fairly well. And then in 2012, we had the Venus transit, a few frames from that event.
It was early morning, I think.
That was the Venus transit was in June 2012. That was like midday, I believe. We set up by the lead center.
Yeah. Did you do this imaging from the lead center?
Yes, I did.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I must have been thinking about the other one about, what, 8 years before?
There was another one earlier, several years earlier. I forget what's the
That was
difference
our
between those.
morning.
Yeah, there was early morning.
This is nice, really nice.
Here's the planet-wide dust storm in 2018. You can just see kind of the polar regions. The rest of the planet is basically obscured by all the dust. And in 2020, my first really big upgrade, I purchased a ZWO ASI 178 MC camera, and this has a USB 3 interface and a fairly large sensor with very small pixel size, 2.4 microns, with a 16-bit output on the data, the video streams. Now, this is a CMOS camera. In fact, most of the cameras you get today are CMOS. Actually, CMOS is actually improved beyond the quality of CCDs. And professional astronomers are now starting to use CMOS instead of CCDs. In fact, one of the things that CMOS has the ability is the individual shuttering of individual pixels, which seems kind of hard to imagine, but yes, in certain cameras, they have the ability to actually turn off individual pixels, which will be actually quite useful for trying to deal with all these darn satellites. Now, I've also gotten away from Windows on my laptop. I'm running a Linux laptop now, and I find that the Linux laptop is very stable, and I'm using solid state drives, and for capturing videos, I'm using a 4 terabyte drive inserted in place of the DVD, which gives me a lot of room on the laptop and pretty quick data acquisition. I really don't have to worry about dropping frames anymore. Here's Mars from October 2020. Fairly nice image. Here's Jupiter from this last fall. Probably one of my best images of Jupiter. What helped, of course, was the fact that Jupiter was very close to us in terms of its angular size was quite a bit bigger than normal, and which allowed us to image a lot more detail. But I just love the detail in this image. There's a lot of detail in the great red spot, lots of detail behind in the swirling clouds behind it.
Dave, did you use
There's a picture of Saturn from last fall. Pretty average. I've never really been able to do much with Saturn in that it's been so low in the sky the last 10 years. And I probably won't see. We won't have. It won't be in a good position for a while yet.
Okay.
It's still pretty low. Current software that I'm using. I'm currently using ASI Studio, which is the capture software provided by the vendor of the camera. I've abandoned Registack, going to a program called AutoStacker. It's another free stacking program. It's a 64-bit software versus the Registack, which is 32-bit, and hasn't been developed since 2009 or 2011. There hasn't been. It's basically Registack is basically a dead product. I still use Astro Image for deconvolution and Neat Image for noise removal. I'm starting to dip my toes into a new commercial package called PixInsight. This is a very powerful astronomical image processing platform that I recall coming out in about 2005. It's a European product, and it's really, really powerful. And it also has the ability to utilize your GPUs. So if you've got a big GPU on your desktop, you can PixInsight will use your GPU. Now I'm starting to use a new program just discovered in the last month, a program called AstroSurface. It's produced by a French developer. It's free. And it's basically the Swiss Army knife of astro imaging processing. It does stacking, wavelets, deconvolution, noise filtering, and other post-processing. So it basically does everything you could want a program to do. And it's designed to run under Windows, but I found that you can run it under Linux using Wine. And I have a link here to a YouTube video that shows you how to use it. By the way, I've put the slide deck out on my website. If you want to go download this slide deck, it's out on my website. Here's ASI Studio. Actually, this is an old version. They just released a new version since I put the slide deck together. But it does your planetary capture, your deep sky imaging, deep sky live stacking. The stacking, video stacking, I don't find to be very good. At least in the older version that they came out with, that I was playing with, the video stacking wasn't very good. Here is the interface to ASI capture. Here's where I'm doing a solar image here. And fairly simple interface. You have a little slider along the right-hand side to access all of the various functions for to control the camera. Here's a picture of the sun that I did last month using ASI capture through my Coronado telescope. In this picture, I did combine two different videos. I did a video with the capturing the disk. Then I did a video where I boosted the gain to capture the detail of the prominences. And then I combined the two together in the GIMP image editing program. There's the sun captured yesterday with lots of sunspots. Here's the auto stacking program. This is kind of a little more complicated in some ways than Registack, but there are some video tutorials out on YouTube that shows you how to use it. It's actually a fairly good stacking program, but it does not do the wavelets. So if you're using AutoStacker and you don't have anything else other than Registack, you'd have to use Registack for your wavelets. But if you download AstroSurface, you have all that in one package. You open up your video, you can line it and stack it, and then apply your deconvolution and your wavelets and your noise filtering all in one. And in this interface, this picture, I've shown the wavelets and deconvolution dialog. And you have lots of little sliders that you can play with. And it works actually fairly well. I'm really impressed with it. And in fact, I think it may be my go-to program for doing all of my post-processing and going forward. And one of the things that I like about it that is lacking in AutoStacker is the ability to reject individual frames. AutoStacker doesn't allow you to kick out bad frames. You'd have to run it through another process to do that. But this program allows you to select out, to kick out the bad frames that you don't want to stack. And here's the interface of PicInsight. This has quite a learning curve. There are literally hundreds, maybe 100 or more different processes that you can apply to your images. And this is, I'm just doing something very simple in this screenshot, just applying curves to an image. Now, future of imaging. I just, this couple months ago, purchased an ASI Air Plus, which I'm hoping might be able to replace the laptop with, but so far, no, can't quite do it. But the ASI Air Plus is basically a custom Raspberry Pi. If you've ever done any tinkering with Raspberry Pis and stuff like that, it's the Raspberry Pi on the inside, Raspberry Pi 4, and you connect it to the side of your telescope, like I've shown over here, and it can control your mount, control your camera, it can control your focuser, and also operate your guide camera. And you control it. You talk to the ASI Air through a tablet or your phone. Now here's the ASI focuser. I just recently purchased that for my 5-inch refractor, and I had to do a little custom bracket fabrication because ZWO doesn't support the GSO focuser that I use. And it's also a nice thing about it is temperature compensating. So as the temperature changes, the focuser will compensate for the temperature changes. Here's the ASI Air app. I was imaging the moon here in this session. You can control, you've got your controls for your mount over here on the right. So you can slew around, adjust your pointing of your mount. You've got camera controls over on the very extreme right. I've got it in video mode, capturing a video. You've got controls for your focuser over on the left. And you can, up at the top, you've got a icon to change camera settings. You've got an icon to adjust mount settings. Icon here for your Wi-Fi, electronic filter wheel, and your focuser. And you also have control over what you're recording to. The ASI Air has very limited built-in storage. You really need to add external storage to it. There's a whole slot for a micro SD card, which it'll hold up to a 1 terabyte SD card. You can also add a USB thumb drive for external storage, so it'll work with all those. There's a moon captured using the ASI Air. In this image, I was just capturing individual frames from the camera, and then just when I was just learning to use the ASI Air, and I stacked them later with to create the final image. So I wasn't actually doing any video capture. One thing that I learned about the ASI Air is that the video capture video resolution is pretty limited. They don't allow you to use the full video resolution of your camera. They designed it for planetary imaging, and they're limiting it right now to like 1080 pixels in width. So it's not going to be very useful for solar or lunar imaging at this point, but it'll be fine for capturing planetary images. A few YouTube resources that you might want to refer to. Christopher Go has a 3-part series out on YouTube, and Damian Peach has a another YouTube video on planetary imaging. These are all links that you can access by downloading the slide deck. Any questions?
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I can hear you, Rick.
The ZWO camera, is there a catalog of cameras? It seems to me I've seen a lot of different serial numbers.
They have quite a fairly wide selection of cameras. Different, some cameras are designed for planetary, others designed for deep sky photography. They have monochrome and color cameras. They've got probably a couple dozen different models right now. And if you go out to their website, just put in Google, just Google for ZWO cameras. They'll take you to their website.
Okay, that's neat to know.
I remember, this isn't actually a question, but I remember a piece of technology that you brought to the Venus transit that allowed you to see your monitor in the sunlight. While I could not see my monitor, you brought a cardboard box.
Yes, cardboard box helps. Or these days, I've been just throwing a towel over my head. Just get a black towel, put it over your head and your monitor, and you're good to go.
That's what I've been using on my solar, but I'm thinking of upgrading and use one of these cardboard things that folds down that you can put in your leaf bags for the trash. And
Yep,
Yeah.
cardboard boxes work well. Now, one of the nice things about the ASI Air is that you could do it from the inside, provided that you don't have a lot of obstruction between your tablet or phone and your telescope. The biggest limiting factor of that of the ASI Air is the Wi-Fi range. It doesn't have very good Wi-Fi range, but you could do it from the shade of a porch or something.
Dave, the recent pictures you showed us of Jupiter and Saturn, did you use the 178 with a filter wheel on that?
That was just the 178 color camera.
Oh, so that was the color camera. Okay, I was thinking it was
Yep.
the monochrome. Okay, well, that's
You're using the monochrome?
So, Dave, so that ASI Air is sending a signal to your laptop, and then you're just controlling and seeing things from the laptop.
The ASI Air talks to your phone or your tablet. It won't work with a laptop.
Oh, okay. But then, are you controlling it with your phone or your tablet?
Yeah, it'll talk. You have to basically take your phone or your tablet and change the Wi-Fi connection to the ASI Air ID.
Okay. Yeah, so obviously the advantage of the ASI Air is small enough to just fit on the telescope and it's not a big.
Yep, it's just it's real small. It's size of it's a Raspberry Pi board inside of a aluminum housing.
My, I comment, there's a few similarities here that you have to my brother-in-law, who he's not been imaging for a couple of years, but my God, he just did amazing images.
Is he using an ASI Air?
No, but I was going to comment that he used something different. It was the same concept.
Mm-hmm.
A little, I can't remember the brand name. Very powerful computer. This probably a similar size. And he would just attach it to his telescope and it could run everything. And he would just wheel the scope to the end of his driveway. And with his filters, he was able to deep sky image like mad in Johnson County.
Mm-hmm.
You can't believe the images that he obtained. Someday we could have him talk about them, but that part of his setup is very similar to yours. And then he also used PixInsight to an enormous effect. He began using PixInsight. I saw such a dramatic change in his pictures. I use it too. I just am not as good at it.
Yeah, it's a quite a package, and you really have to go out to YouTube and watch the demos to learn how to use it. It's got a very steep learning curve.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't
but it is really powerful. And what I like about it is once you buy it, you own a license for life. You're not having to pay for upgrade fees and paying maintenance fees like you do with Maxim DL.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. I don't like the whatever you call the pre-processing, the stacking and stuff. I think it's kind of clumsy. PixInsight.
Yeah, PixInsight is not a good insight for stacking. It's a horrible interface for stacking. It's more for deep sky imaging. It's really not designed for planetary imaging.
Oh,
okay. Dave, while we're talking about stacking, I use similar stacking software as you, but there's one other that perhaps you're familiar with that I'm not sure that the stacking on deep sky objects is as good as some of the other software. There's a lot of fun, and that's the live stacking option on the SharpCap.
I don't use Sharp Capture. I've seen it. That's a commercial application, isn't it?
Well, the SharpCap is free, but if you want to unlock the live stacking, it's trivial, something like $9 or $10 a year.
Oh, okay.
But it's a lot of fun. You can sit there and watch your image go from you're seeing nothing to the nebula or the galaxy begins to hold in front of you, and you can do the curves and the and levels as you go along. It's a fun one to use.
Yeah, ASI capture does the live capture does live stacking is very similar to that. I've used was a couple of years ago in that comet in the summer time.
Oh yeah.
I was using their live stacking to get the comet pictures. Yeah, now that I'm no longer using Windows for capturing, I'm just using Linux for my capture platform. So if the SharpCap only runs on Windows.
that's correct.
So I'm basically moving away from Windows more towards Linux, mainly because of the stability of Linux.
They don't seem to be making very much progress on Windows 11. They seem a little bit uncertain about Windows 11. Are you using-
Well, it's out.
Unfortunately. Yeah,
I'm not. I'm using it.
well, somehow I got switched myself to 11, and I probably don't understand it well enough, but I prefer 10.
Yeah, I've got 10 at home, but on my laptop for work, they automatically updated everybody to 11. We didn't have a choice.
No,
I hate 11.
really.
Now, things that were easy and obvious, at least for me, things that were easy and obvious on 10, I have to go to YouTube to find out how to do it on 11.
Oh gosh. If anybody wants to see who hasn't ever seen Pix Insight, here's Pix Insight starting up. Move this out of the way and give you an idea. Here's the list of just a few of the processes that are available. And they're also available over here, Process Explorer. It's quite a program. How many anybody else besides myself use the GIMP for image processing for like levels and curves and color adjustments?
Yeah, I use it.
Yeah, I've gone away from Photoshop, and I found that the GIMP is probably a better platform. At least,
Well, I like the fact it's free and you don't have to.
yeah, it's free, and there are a lot of user plugins available.
A lot.
Yep, a lot.
I use this also. I use PixInsight also. One of the things I like about it is all those processes that you showed us a minute ago, and that you've got some of them up now. Once you go through 4 or 5 or 10, and you're happy with your photo, and you liked using how those were used, you can just save it.
Yes. Yeah, you have the ability to saving your processing steps into a script.
Yeah, on the right-hand side, then I can just bring it up. So once I'm kind of happy with the order that I did things in. Let's say I did, of course, first you clip it to the correct size, and then maybe you do some initial contrast things, and then, start making some color adjustments or something, or some curves. Then each one of those steps, I don't remember if they call them modules or something, but you can just save it, like, the step, you can label it, step you used on Tuesday night, in March.
Mm-hmm.
Then next time you're on it, you can just bring up Tuesday night, and boom, all those steps on the right-hand side laid out for you, and you can just start using it. And that makes it much more simple, so people look and see, wow, there's 15 processes. It's confusing.
Yep.
Difficult? No, not really.
I still keep Photoshop handy. Here's Photoshop running on Linux under Wine. I found that a lot of the Windows programs, if you do a little work, you can get them running under Linux with the Wine environment. Boom, right there. So I've also got, let's see, did I just lose? Did I lose you guys?
You were garbled.
What was that?
I think I lost. Can't find the, where did? Can you hear me still?
Yes,
For some reason, my Zoom window disappeared.
oh, well, we can still see your screen.
I like that screen, man.
Weird.
Got Stellar.
My Zoom's acting up a little bit. Huh, I wonder what happened.
That's the planetarium.
Uh-huh, it's a good.
Yeah.
Control some colors.
So where'd it go? Where'd my Zoom window go? Huh. Okay, this is weird. Let me close this down. Well, I don't seem to have anything else running. Well, huh, that's odd. Still hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
That's weird.
I think you should, look into using more sophisticated filters on Venus, because they can do a lot more now than they used to be able to.
Yeah, I really don't try to do Venus from this location because the our trees just block the eastern and western horizons. I basically have the southern sky visible overhead, and that's it.
Or you took down some of the neighbors' branches.
Any other questions?
That was very, very instructive and interesting, Dave.
Thank you,
Well,
Dave.
thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, these are amazing images, Dave. I love it. Now you've been having a lot of fun with this over the years.
I can't wait to see some of those calcium filter images.
Yeah, that's gonna be nice.
All right, well, I guess we'll let you go, but
Okay, I'll let you end the meeting. I
All right.
can't leave because I can't find the Zoom window.
well, it's my meeting, so I'll stop I can
Yep.
stop. All right.
Okay,
Thanks, Dave.
you're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
bye, Dave, thanks.
Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome.